Hi, everyone. I am sending you this little end of semester message. I thought about writing this, which is much more in my comfort zone. But who's in their comfort zone these days, really? So I figured this might be at least slightly more personal. So forgive my awkwardness on camera. Out in the garage where I do my work now in a sweatshirt. But of course, I have my lipstick and stuff because that's, me. I'm working under strange circumstances, right? We don't have room for all of us in the house to be on our computers and talking at the same time. And so I've made my garage into a little indoor-outdoor office with a space heater. A lot of you are working under strange circumstances as well. Sometimes really, really difficult ones. And some of you have shared with me how many obstacles you're up against in finishing this semester. And I wish there was some way that I could help with that, that Harper could provide a place for you. But truly, we're trying to go by the best policies. I think our college president, Dr. Proctor, is doing an amazing job, frankly, helping the college community through this. But these are strange times. So some of you may know this. I can never remember who I've told, but I was in graduate school and as a graduate instructor, and then moved to Chicago. I got my first official non-graduate instructor, so my first official faculty job. It was a one-year appointment at North Central College, the year before I came to Harper. North Central College was on quarters or trimesters, whatever you want to call it. So they started a little bit later than a typical semester. So our first day of class, my first day as an actual full-fledged professor running my own classroom, was September 11th, 2001. And we'd been finding out, I lived in the city, and took the train out to Naperville for my job. And my cell phone had rung a few times. Everybody's cell phone had rung a few times. We were finding out what was happening. My class was 9:30, 10, something, enough that things were very, very bad by then. And I was terrified like everyone else was. And I walked into my class, my first class as a college professor, their first class as freshmen. See how my light's going on and off? Many of them, the first time they lived away from home. And I saw how they looked to me. I was 26, 25, 26, something like that. How they looked to me with expectation and need. They looked to me with need for someone to say something hopeful and reassuring. They wanted me not there to start teaching Introduction to Critical Theory for freshmen, but to be someone who was an authority, someone who could reassure them. All I could do at that point, and I will never forget that moment of recalibrating everything that I was about to be in the classroom, because of course prepared to be, Professor Walsh. All I could do right then was just to be fully there and fully human. I told them that we were in a moment of history, without doubt. That I didn't know what was going to happen. I knew that part of the fear that we were all experiencing, I told them, is knowing that nothing is going to be the same, but also that we were all in this together. and that we would get through it together. I have no doubt that I failed in that moment and that entire year, pretty much, I think. I also have no doubt that I tried so hard. And I think about that moment, thinking about the situation we're in now, because I do have that feeling at the end of the semester, that feeling of failure. And at the same time, the knowledge that I've tried. And hopefully you understand that that's all I've asked of you, is to try. We don't know how to do this. We're figuring it out. What I'd add to what I said to my students way back in the day when I was a young, much more confident person who was sure that academic, encyclopedic knowledge was pretty much all I needed to do my job. I would say I'm here, not just as a professor, but as a mentor, as a listening ear, as somebody who can hopefully help provide you with resources. We are in a moment of history. We're in the future history books right now. I don't know what's going to happen. I know we're all in it together, and that's how we're going to get through it. And I definitely want to say something that I wish I had said that day in this current slow motion crisis, because it is very different, or we're in much slower motion here, is that I don't want you to think that you can't do this because you're already doing it. We're all already doing it, and it's really hard. You can actually see over my shoulder, see that 17? That's how many days of distance learning my daughter has. She's 13, 7th grade, and in utter misery at how her year is ending. Being 13 is pretty miserable anyway, so, but this really tips it over the top. And I keep telling her, you can do this. You're already doing it. We're already doing it. The other thing that I would say is that I feel old enough to say this now. Maybe in 2001, I was so close to my students' age that maybe it would have felt strange to say it, but I can say it now, is that I am so, so proud of you for finishing up the semester in whatever capacity you've been able to finish it, for taking care of yourselves and each other, asking for help when you need it, for putting yourselves in harm's way with different jobs that you do, whether that's at grocery stores or hospitals or delivery trucks, taking care of elders and those more vulnerable. Proud of all of you who put on a mask every time you go out, because you should be, to protect those among us who cannot simply get over an illness like what we're having. I understand your impatience, believe me, good Lord. I want this to be over more than anything, but I am proud of you. You're doing amazing, and I'm honored to be able to be a faculty member at Harper this semester, as strange as that sounds coming from my cynical mouth. I hope I've done no harm, and ideally I've helped you get through this semester. And I'm going to close today to remind you, first of all, check your assignments and deadlines. Keep in contact with me if you're running into any problems or questions. And I'm going to end this by risking just a wee bit can you tell I'm Irish? Just a wee bit of a church state lapse and say this. I'm going to give you one of my favorite quotes in the world that I repeat to myself daily, sometimes hundreds of times, like a mantra, from Julian of Norwich. This is actually the quote I left on the dry erase board on my office door the last day that we left campus. And I keep hoping that the people who need to be on campus, maintenance and police and everything, that when they walk by my office, I hope somebody has seen it and felt some comfort. That's why I left it there. And, but it's a simple quote from Julian of Norwich. All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of thing shall be well. All right. See you on the other side of the war.